Let you there we go. Okay. Okay, good. I think we are now live and we are being recorded here. Um, Let me know. Good. I can see y'all in the waiting room have been moved in. So, Danica, can you let me know if you can hear me and if everything looks okay? I want to welcome y'all to trying to stay sane during perimenopause. Danica, I'm looking for you in chat. Um, oh, good. Okay, very good. Okay, you can see me and you can hear me. Okay, I had to move some things around over here on my end. Okay, good. And I can see that we have a couple of people. We had a number of people sign up for this. It's um a pop-up session here. I was really quite surprised that so many people actually registered. I think a number of people are going to be getting the recording. Those of you live that are here participating, please take advantage of the fact that it is live and drop questions in the chat. Take advantage of the fact that you're here and you can ask me questions. It's a 45-minute pop-up webinar. As soon as I close, you should get the recording. Now, if you are on Facebook, and Danica, if you could hop on Facebook and make sure this is actually streaming. I have way too much tech going for me to be able to check all this stuff. So if you can see if it's actually streaming for me, Danica, on Facebook, that would be fantastic. It is also on Instagram, but on those two platforms, they cannot see the slides. And so I'm thinking y'all can see the slides, everything makes sense, and we're good to go. Let me know if the presentation of anything looks odd. Um, or anything like that, because I can't always tell what you're seeing versus what I have. So I'll give you all just a second and then I will get going because I inevitably have too much material for the amount of time that I have. It's always like I have way too many slides and not enough time. Okay, so this is staying sane during perimenopause, and this is currently streaming on Instagram as well as Facebook. But y'all don't have the slides. If that is something that you would like, please make sure that y'all drop a note under my last post, and then we can get you. Access to all of that stuff. Those of you who are on, you can see the slides, you can ask me questions. I'm going to do this webinar one more time before the actual kind of shift to doing something that's a little bit more hands on. So I'm going to record again. So if y'all want to actually, kind of ask questions and engage with me, feel free. Okay. And I will get going. So, all right. And I see Danica's hard at work. Okay. So let me just make sure, let me know if my slides don't progress here. I'm going to get moving. Okay. So what do you expect? Um, I'm getting a question on Instagram about it posting afterwards. I don't know that it's going to post afterwards, but if you drop a question, like just put something, either DM or put something under the last post, we can send you a recording. I doubt I'm going to leave it up. I doubt I'm going to leave it up. That's a great question. And I'm going to get that on Facebook as well. Same thing there. I doubt it's going to stay up, but if you want the recording, which is better with the slides, there's a lot of material, that would be ideal. Okay, great question. Okay, so what are we going to do? As a woman in perimenopause myself, and realizing that so many of my clients and patients were like going through it and having so much access to this information, I decided it was time to teach. So that's what we're doing. We're teaching today, and I want you to walk away from this presentation with takeaways and knowing that you're not really going crazy. Something is actually happening to you, and that our mothers and our grandmothers didn't have the science and access to teach us, what to expect during perimenopause. I think there's a lot of emphasis on menopause and nowhere near enough information on perimenopause. So, in this session, I'm going to walk you through why you may be struggling with brain fog, emotional reactivity, kind of a constant sense of overwhelm, especially if you've always been able to kind of hold it together before, and now all of a sudden life feels like too much. Um, I'm going to teach you what's actually happening beneath the surface with your hormones, your nervous system, and just how these things are affecting your mood, your daily functioning, all of that. So, I really want to drop into science, but then tell you what you're supposed to do about all this. And then three steps you can take away to just really restore clarity, emotional balance, some degree of inner stability. So, like, you can start feeling a little bit more like yourself again. Perimenopause is what it is. It is going to change your experience. That's what it is supposed to do. But you don't have to feel completely alien in your body, which is what a lot of people are experiencing. This is a really tumultuous time. I don't think we really understand as women that late 30s to like late 40s or even early 50s is such a dramatic rewiring and repatterning. And I just think it is quite a misstep for us to not be aware of exactly what's going on for us. So, as you start to learn and move through this process with me, you can feel sane again, even when your brain feels foggy and scattered. You can learn to sleep deeply and stay asleep. That's a big one with women in perimenopause, not being able to sleep, not being able to stay asleep. And then you can reclaim your identity and mental clarity without numbing or shutting down. Okay. Because that's what I find. Women are drinking way too much wine. They're wanting to kind of run off and go live in a cave somewhere, kind of leave everyone, leave everything, and just kind of be done with all of it. And I don't think it has to be this way. I think there is a way for us to navigate things differently. I've done podcasts on this. I spend a lot of time repeating myself in individual appointments. And I thought, let me just hop on and teach. Okay. And I'm checking in with my team member. Were you able to confirm, Danica? Are we good to go on Facebook? Feel free to type in the chat. Okay, someone's typing. That must be her. On Instagram, you can feel free. You're not distracting. Um, Feel free to ask questions here as well. Okay, check the business page. It may be streaming there. I just want to know where it's at. It's not on my personal page. So, who am I? I'm Dr. Tiffany Brownbush. I think everyone who registered for the program knows who I am, but some of you who are watching on the streaming won't know who I am. I am where you go when you don't want to do psychiatric intervention. So you don't want to use medications for whatever is going on psychologically or with your brain. And you are interested in balancing your brain, body, and mind. I am a licensed neuropsychotherapist. I'm a traditional naturopathic doctor. And what that means is I do not write prescriptions. I use amino acids or herbs. I use plant medicine, you name it. I do functional medicine to help people figure out how to get things balanced. And I'm also trained in functional neurology. My Doc Brownbush method believes that to get to true healing, you need to balance your brain, body, and mind. And so that's how I work. And I specialize in ADHD, anxiety, women's health issues, dysregulated nervous systems. I do a lot of work with women and their children, and then with couples, right? Because what I found over the years is women often come in struggling with their relationships. So the relationship with their body, their relationship with their loved ones, just a lot of like how they're relating. And we need to do not only work internally, but also skill building with them and their community and their loved ones. And so that's how I approach things in my practice. So, okay, let's get moving again online. I know y'all can't see, but we're on a slide that says perimenopause, the second puberty. I was literally in a training and was introduced to this idea of perimenopause being second puberty for women. And I thought, wow, what a way to capture this. That's exactly what's going on. And if you're on with me watching this or you're watching the replay, I want you to look at this and I can get you the references. They're not showing up on this slide, but I want you to look at how this looks like a very similar idea here. Here is what puberty looks like, and here is what perimenopause looks like. And look at how similar this actually is with these fluctuating levels of estradiol is estrogen. Okay, so that's when you're going to see estradiol a lot here. Estradiol is estrogen, and then progesterone. So, why do we care about this? Why would we say that perimenopause is the second puberty? I don't know how many of y'all have teenage daughters, but I think you could say that something very different starts to happen when your daughter goes through her puberty experience, when her menstrual cycle um, Oh, okay. Hold on. I'm getting a notice here. Okay. It seems like we're okay for streaming. So, but it was telling me something. Something different is going on with your teenage daughter when her menstrual cycle starts. Her personality changes, her focus changes, her mood changes, your household becomes kind of tumultuous. It's not just her body that is different. She is different. And that is what a lot of women are experiencing with perimenopause, right? There's all of these physical changes that are occurring. There's all these emotional changes that are occurring. Women report worse PMS or PMDD, which is an extreme version of PMS, as if it wasn't bad enough. And PMS is right before you have your menstrual cycle, so it's premenstrual syndrome. And PMDD is a dysphoric experience. It's so bad that you are having an out of body reaction. There's an increase in anxiety, stress, anger, overwhelm. Okay, this is a consistent theme for most women with perimenopause. Heavier periods. I think the irony of that you, like your teenage daughter, will start having heavier periods as your body is preparing for menopause. It's just fascinating. Brain fog, which has a massive connection to leaky gut, hair loss, hair changes, a lot of dry hair, brittle hair, but just a shift in how much hair, where there's hair. Sometimes there's hair showing up in places where it didn't used to show up. Weight gain and muscle loss. So what you'll find is like it's not just that you are gaining weight, but you feel like your body looks different, right? So you're not as um you don't have the same shape. Your lower belly might be protruding more than it used to. You might feel like your glutes, your buttocks is starting to flatten a little bit, like your whole body is starting to shift as you're going into menopause. Poor sleep. So we have all kinds of problems with sleep. The things that women have said to me over the years. First you can't fall asleep, then you can't stay asleep, then when you do wake up you have all these thoughts and you want to solve all the problems. Everything that was going on during the day is now needing to be addressed at 2 o'clock in the morning. um, and then a lot of you just don't go back to sleep. That's the kind of thing that I'm hearing. And I feel really, really sad for those of you who just are like, okay, I guess 3 a.m. is now my wake up time and I'm just not going to go back to sleep. So there's a reason for that, and it has a lot to do with increased histamines and mast cell activation. So here's where I would love to hear if you're comfortable sharing. And the recording, you should not be able to see the chat. How many of the symptoms that I have here on the screen are some of you experiencing? Okay. How many of these symptoms are some of you experiencing? Now, if you're willing to share, please do. One of the things I started to notice as I entered into perimenopause was definitely the anxiety, mood fluctuations. But I found it fascinating. Okay, I found it fascinating. TMI, but this is what we're doing today: the heavier periods. I loved getting this information because and learning all this over the last couple of years because I did not expect to have worse periods because what are we told about menopause? We are no longer in a high estrogen state. So we no longer have high levels of estrogen, and heavy periods means high levels of estrogen, right? What is actually happening, and the reason that everyone is anxious and brain foggy and not sleeping is that you actually have lower levels of progesterone. Progesterone is a hormone that helps you to stay calm. It helps you to have GABA. It helps you to sleep. Okay. It also helps balance out estrogen levels so that you don't have miserably heavy menstrual cycles. All right. Um, and progesterone and histamines, and I'm going to explain this one because it's a really important part of some of the symptoms that other women are having during perimenopause, balance each other and help keep each other in check. So histamines are what most people associate with allergy season, okay, or rashes, or itchy skin, or like sneezing after you have something that, kind of tickles your sinuses or something like that. Histamines are related to those experiences. Histamines increase in perimenopause. Histamines increase in perimenopause. So, what you may notice is that there may be an uptick in vertigo and dizziness and irritable bladder, um, low blood pressure, eczema, rashes, migraines. Women start to have all of these problems in their late 30s and throughout their 40s until they get into menopause, which is when you have gone 12 months without a menstrual cycle. That means you haven't bled for 12 months. And anything up until then, which means you might have a period in January and not have another one until March, that is still perimenopause. Okay. And all of these experiences here occur during that window of time until you absolutely get into menopause. Once we get to the place where we're not releasing an egg and we're not trying to do all of those things again, we're now in a different phase where we are in a very low estrogen state. But it can take anywhere from 2 to 12 years of this nuttiness before we actually get there. And no one is talking to us about that. No one's talking to us about that. So I will oftentimes, as women are coming to me for functional medicine, or they're coming to me for therapy, or they're coming to me for the relationship, kind of gently say, this is also going on in the backdrop, and this is massive. This is massive. So I see one of you put in the chat that you're having, some of these experiences. Anything else that's been pretty dramatic for any of you when it comes to PMS, worst PMS, anxiety, anger, stress, overwhelm, brain fog, hair loss, hair changes, weight gain, sleep disturbances? Anyone who is attending in either online or in the actual event, skin changes. I'm really interested in the eczema and rashes. Hives are a massive one. Any of those showing up for people, digestive distress, any of those, feel free to share with me. Okay. So why is this happening? And feel free, like I said, you can chat while I'm presenting. You have less progesterone. Okay. You have less progesterone because that is what's supposed to happen. That is the first thing to happen during perimenopause, not a decrease in estrogen. a decrease in progesterone, which was nature's gift to us as like a natural Valium or Xanax or sleep aid. That is what decided to go away with perimenopause. Okay. And so it makes us like everyone and want to bond and be connected and all those things. That is the first thing to go, right? What stays is histamines at a very high level. So women are itchy and bloated and having all kinds of overstimulation. Histamine will make you feel more anxious. It acts as a neurotransmitter that is very stimulating. And if you add red wine to this high histamine state, to this state where you are not clearing histamines well anymore, if you are a wine drinker and you are having wine before bed, you will find that you wake up in the middle of the night and then you are also much more hungover, brain foggy, and anxious the next day. Okay. So, what starts to happen during perimenopause is an intolerance to fermented alcohol, food, all kinds of things. Um, okay. It's okay. Okay, great. Thank you, Danica. So, that is what's showing up as part of perimenopause. Okay. Now, here we're going to add insult to injury. You not only have higher levels of estrogen to progesterone, but you now have erratic levels of estrogen. So from one menstrual cycle to the next, you could have way more estrogen than you did the last time. And that is why sometimes you're having these very heavy, very long menstrual cycles. Okay. And I'm going to explain too, because I know some of you may not even have this experience. But women will report that they will now have the worst menstrual cycles of their whole experience with having a cycle during perimenopause. Okay. And I'm going to explain kind of why this is occurring as well. Now I mentioned some of you are going to have like hair growing in places you didn't used to. Women will oftentimes have more hair on their face. That's because androgen levels increase there. And I will explain what androgen is. Androgen levels will make your skin more oily. You'll get more acne sometimes. So again, second puberty, you'll get more hair. Women will get hair around their nipples sometimes, or hair growing in just strange places on their body that they're not used to. And insulin resistance and inflammation are highlighted during this phase. Okay. Um, this is a normal transition. This isn't a bad transition. This is what is supposed to happen. Okay. But if you were insulin resistant, and I don't know if there's any confusion about insulin resistant, that's going to be high blood sugar and not being able to get sugar into the cell, not being able to get energy into the cell. So if you were insulin resistant or you were inflamed, or if you had leaky gut, or if you had mood issues, all of this before this perimenopause phase starts, everything gets worse. Perimenopause adds just like, I don't know, gasoline to the fire of whatever was going on before you went into perimenopause because it becomes very unstable. Now, what is supposed to happen and supposed to be this situation of like estrogen stays fairly level and then progesterone starts to drop, and you see right here where there's that circle where you have no progesterone. It's not supposed to be as miserable as it is. Now, there's an argument being made that it's worse maybe for us than it was for maybe our mom or our grandmother because our environment is more toxic. We have more issues with leaky gut. We have more issues. There's plastics in our water. We've got, all kinds of toxicity in our environment. There's toxins in our air. There's all kinds of things that maybe women weren't dealing with before. We don't know. We don't have a lot of data. Conventional medicine tends to research men more than it does women. We just kind of dealt with things, which just now where we're getting more data on the experience that women are going through. We do know that divorce rates increase pretty dramatically during perimenopause. Okay. Women are going through something pretty dramatic. And it's part of it's completely normal and natural, and part of it is being exacerbated by our experience with the environment. It's a natural multi-year transition. Progesterone progressively drops, erratic estrogen, and this is completely variable and unpredictable from one woman to the next, which is why functional medicine is what it is, because it's usually customized to the person. Okay. But there are some general recommendations that I can make that you need to hear. Um, okay, so here's a concerning but important piece of the data. Perimenopause is a progressive transition from ovarian control to adrenal adipose control. Your adrenals make adrenaline and cortisol. Okay, so with age, cortisol is going to go up. Okay, so what happens when you have more cortisol? That means you have an increased stress response, right? So we have progesterone going down, we have adrenaline and cortisol going up. You're going to have more male hormone, androgen levels going up. So women can feel like they don't want to take care of anyone anymore. People are getting on their nerves. People need to take care of themselves and be more responsible for their own lives and issues and concerns, and they just kind of just don't want to be bothered anymore. And it's because those bonding hormones that we are so accustomed to having a whole lot of progesterone and estrogen, are starting to drop. And nature intentionally has created an environment where, if we're willing to, as women, we get to kind of work with a different canvas, paint something different, have a different experience. If we are courageous enough to accept that a few different things are happening here, and we're going to feel a bit more intense and a bit less like connection and bonding, we're going to have more testosterone and adrenaline. And can we understand what's going on, not react to it, but instead respond to it, and then put some supports in place. And that's what this talk is about. Can you put some supports in place? Okay. All right. So this slide is about that. Your brain is sensitive to nutrient and hormone levels. Whenever you see a little camera in the corner, you might want to take a picture of that slide. Okay. Um, Average age in the US for divorce is 45. 45. So when that happens, and I want to say men are going through andropause, so their testosterone levels are going down at the same time that our progesterone levels are going down. So it's no coincidence that this is just like this is happening intentionally. If couples do not understand that hormonally they are completely changing, they will think that something is genuinely wrong in their relationship, where literally their brains are totally changing, and he has less testosterone, she has more of it, and she has less patience because she has less progesterone and less estrogen. A recipe for disaster if you do not understand what's going on. It's a changing role with children. You have all kinds of challenges with your teenager who is also going through puberty, or the older ones are leaving home and there's an empty nest, and that's a whole other section of like therapy, right? Sometimes there are new caregiver roles. So you are now navigating the responsibility of aging parents, and that can start to happen for this perimenopausal female around 49. But you've got all this stuff happening, right? So there's looser skin and there's more body fat and you're having hot sweats and night flashes, hot flashes and night sweats. There we go. You're hot, you're sweaty, you're mad, you're uncomfortable, and you don't feel desirable. So you can feel really self conscious about your appearance, your skin changing, your hair changing, all of these things. So this is the stuff that is going on. Women are smearing all kinds of creams and potions all over their bodies, because they nobody prepared them for this and they don't know really what's happening, right? So this is the stuff that's going on a more superficial level. Um, and because of questioning like your role, your value, your strengths in this next phase of life, you can feel quite uncertain, anxious, and not grounded. Um, and here's a big thing I need to say here. Women become aware because there's less progesterone, there's less GABA, the brain is less calm of all kinds of things that they've been people pleasing around, tolerating, and they're wanting control, and they're very resistant to other people having that control and changes that can be occurring in their environment, right? So maybe there are all kinds of environmental changes with work, or maybe there's a sense of feeling powerless when it comes to what's going on with the kids or the spouse or the parents. And because of these hormonal changes and what nature intended, we can feel like a raw nerve and we can feel resistant. All right. And think it's just us when it actually is part of the hormonal shift. The people pleaser meets a somewhat lost sense of self. And then asking for help is something that can feel like a weakness. And women can find themselves really angry if they are suppressing and not expressing what's going on. And a lot of women will end up on an antidepressant and anti-anxiety medication. Like it is just, when I tell you this is just the craziest decade for just all of the different things that I do with women. That is why I am doing this. It is really a very crazy decade. Okay. Um, so look at this slide, right? All of the things that are going on, and women are like, well, why is it so bad? And it's so bad because of the modern food, the toxins in the environment, the unremitting stress of being constantly connected due to cell phones and just being pinged on teams constantly and all of the things, and then all of the things that start to happen here. You see that there's all kinds of stuff around sleep and lifestyle and go do just more, um, just how we're eating and the hygiene around eating and the responsibilities that women have between their children and their parents and their jobs. And women aren't prioritizing joy or social time. Sex is a whole problem, whole problem at this time, because you're different. Low levels of progesterone and erratic levels of estrogen mean all kinds of issues for libido. I don't know why it's taken me so long to say that in this presentation, but you need orgasm for oxytocin and bonding, and you're finding that this can be a really challenging time to figure that out with your spouse. You may start eating way more sugar, way more carbohydrates, and trying to drink way more alcohol. And this is the absolute worst time to do all those things, and on and on and on. This is one of those slides that you might want to take a picture of, because so much is listed here that really shows up during this phase. Okay, so these foods make everything worse. Okay. And I know y'all can't see these on social, but if your diet consists of these foods, it's going to exacerbate. And if you work with me, you already know this, right? It's these types of things get pulled out pretty quickly. But if you don't work with me, or you just signed up for this because you're on my mailing list or you saw it on social media, I need you to know that when you hit perimenopause, your body is now asking you to stop eating like you were hitting puberty for the first time. right? You cannot eat these foods. These foods are making everything about that hormonal shift so much harder to navigate. Okay. So this is one of the things we do first is to clean up the diet. So that is one of the biggest steps I need you to take away from today's presentation. I'm going to take this remaining kind of 10 minutes to kind of teach you what it is you need to do. Sugar is not your friend now. It wasn't your friend before, but I promise you it is so not your friend right now. I've already gone after red wine because it increases your histamine levels. Processed carbohydrates, like you see the wheat thins or the donuts or the muffins, or you've got like some of the rich crackers and the 100-calorie packs of things and the hot dog buns and the hamburger buns. These things are making it so that you wake up in the middle of the night sweaty, or you're in the meeting and you cannot remember what the word was you were about to say, or you walk into the room and you don't know why you're there, and you're also irritated with whoever you ran into when you got into that room. These foods are exacerbating all of that. Okay, what do you need to eat? We need you to switch to I know no one wants to hear this, but a paleo diet, a keto diet, a Mediterranean diet is another one that makes a whole lot of sense here. And I know all of your conventional doctors have told you to consider um, a Mediterranean diet at some point. What is that? That means eat salmon. It means increase the olive oil in your diet. You need to have more avocados and um, healthy nuts. Things like peanuts are not what I mean. I mean almonds and pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds and walnuts, things like that. You need a low carbohydrate diet that is really high in cruciferous veggies. Cruciferous veggies. So that's going to be detox veggies. So things like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, things that help you get rid of bad estrogen and help you to detoxify the toxins in the environment. You've got to increase those types of things. On the actual event here, those of you who are on with me, do you have any questions about diet? This is an amazing time to get clarity on diet. So feel free to put in the chat any questions about the diet. If you don't do anything different as a result of learning about what is happening to you during perimenopause, I need you to really seriously research paleo, Mediterranean, low carbohydrate. I have been in ketosis for the last, I think, 3 years. I think I went on a keto diet 3 years ago and have been using that as a way to not only deal with perimenopause, but a lot of you who work with me know that I received a lupus diagnosis 2020, 2019. I think it's 2025. So 2019 is when lupus was confirmed for me. And oh my gosh, lupus is a high inflammation diagnosis. When I tell you the last thing you want is to have an autoimmune disorder and perimenopause at the same time, I don't care what diet I needed to do, whatever I needed to do to stop feeling like a crazy person was the diet I was going to do. And ketosis was the right diet for me, and it has resolved a lot of problems for me. Okay, a lot of problems for me, but it's a low carbohydrate, high fat diet that is anti inflammatory. Okay, ladies, I need you to increase your protein. I need half your body weight in grams of protein. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you need 100 grams of protein. Let me say that again. If you weigh 200 pounds, you need 100 grams of protein a day. That is half your body weight in grams of protein. Okay. If you weigh 150 pounds, that is what, 75 grams of protein a day. Tell me if I got that math right or wrong, right? Um, you take your weight. So if you weigh 100 pounds, I have somebody who weighs 100 pounds in the practice. She consumes 50 grams of protein a day. Okay, that is what you do during perimenopause. You need to increase your hydration. You need half your body weight in ounces of water. half your body weight in ounces of water. I need you to start lifting weights. That is one of the major tips. You have got to stop running so much. You need to stop running so much. Okay. Please stop running so much. You're just making everything much, much, much worse. I need you to start lifting weights 3 to 4 times a week and stop doing so much cardio. So you have got to do something that adds toning to your exercise program stat immediately. Okay. And there's so many reasons for this that I can't go into today. But your second tip besides diet is to start lifting weights because you're going to set yourself up for a very miserable menopause if you don't start lifting weights. And remember, your estrogen is erratic, but your progesterone is down and your testosterone and androgens are up. It's actually a great backdrop to put on some muscle, especially if you add that protein onto your diet. Um, Supplements. I cannot do supplements here. I have a program that I'm going to talk to you about. It's not even a long program. It's a 2.5 hour program where I will go into all of the supplements that we need to survive perimenopause. But you need to address histamine levels. There's something called DAO that we use for that. I also use a product called DHIST. Progesterone levels. Almost all of us need to go on some level of progesterone support during perimenopause. Yes, perimenopause means progesterone goes down, but you do need some degree of progesterone. Do not go to your doctor and ask for estrogen. Your estrogen's probably fine right now. Your progesterone is in the toilet, and that's what you need help with. Your GABA is going down. What is GABA? That's Valium, that's Xanax, that's your anti-anxiety medication that is built into your brain, and it is going down because your progesterone has gone down. I usually add GABA to my client's life. Estrogen detox. There's something that I use called DEM. We have to just be careful. All of you are so different, but estrogen detox is something that I look at, especially if women are having really heavy, bleedy periods. That means their estrogen is kind of out of control. Berberine is something I use for blood sugar sensitivity. If that's your problem, I don't know without talking to you. So I do use that. I've got a couple of products that I use for a couple of supplements that I use for circulation in the brain to get all that fogginess and focus stuff to go away. And I need us all sleeping, like our lives and our health depend on it. So sleep support is a big one that I address during this phase of life. So those supplements I will be addressing in the program I'm about to tell you about. Stress management is going to be a bonus tip. Assertiveness training, boundaries, addressing unresolved trauma. This is when you deal with this because all of it kind of comes back to the surface in your 40s because your brain is rewiring and remodeling because of all these hormone changes. And I really encourage women to start to dream about what it is they want for this next phase of life because um, the real truth here is we're not designed to make choices that lead us to be stressed, toxic, inflamed, infected, malnourished, and unrested. We get to be energetic, lean, resilient, fertile, bright-minded, creative, well-rested, with great skin, easy bowel movements, and great sex. If we're intentional, right? And we have to figure all of this out. So you're at a crossroads. I'm going to close out here. You can try to figure this out on your own. Danica, can you put the link to yes. Yes, she just dropped the link there. Thriving During Perimenopause Workshop and Masterclass. You've got enough to be dangerous. You can try to DIY this, okay? You can try to work on your diet and try to do all the things. You can do this on your own. You have enough right now. You know what diet, you know how much protein, you know how much water, you know all the exercise stuff, or you can let me help you. I have a master class and workshop. We're going to spend 2.5 hours together. You are going to talk to me about all things that you've got going on. 90 minutes of that workshop. It's on Wednesday, July 30th at 2 o'clock. Um, 90 minutes of that workshop, I am going to talk to you about the perimenopause diet. We're going to outline this. This is us. You're on screen. There's no cameras off here. We're going to be very much working with each other. We're going to go over the alcohol you need to be drinking in perimenopause once you get rid of the wine, because there's some strategic things we can do with alcohol. We're going to talk about the workout program that you need based off what you have going on, hormone interventions, not just quick fixes. And I'm going to outline the supplement protocol that I want to recommend for everyone. But as I am workshopping with you in the second half of that master class, I'm going to tell you what I am recommending for you specifically. So, this is an opportunity to go more in depth with the teaching and to have me workshop with you exactly what you would benefit from. You're also going to get access to a portal. So, you're not going to have to just get a bunch of handouts and things like that. You will have a portal where all of this will be the kinds of menus that you need to follow and the foods you need to eat and the list of the supplements, all that. So you're going to get a login. This program is actually normally it's 240. It says 245, but it's 249 is the actual cost of it today through midnight tonight, or tomorrow morning. Basically, it's 199. Okay, so when you go to the link that Danica just dropped, and those of you who are streaming, you can have the link as well. It's 199, and that gives you access to the 2.5 hours of teaching, but you get access to your portal and all of the things. You're going to get the sleep strategies. A lot of you have aura rings, and so you're in my practice and I've got you monitoring that. Some of you, the sleep's not the biggest problem. We've got some other issues, and I love to help hack sleep. But if you're like me, sleep was a massive problem for me when it came to being unwell and also having issues with perimenopause. I will help you figure out sleep. I'll get the nutrition and the hydration figured out. We're going to deal with the histamines. If you're having any of those hives or skin issues, skin changes, the feeling overstimulated, anxious, excited, all that, I'm going to tell you what supplements and the dosing for those. And then, like I said, the exercise. And we're going to take some time to drop into more aggressively. What are some strategies for taking up more space, speaking up, getting your needs met? Um, Dealing with the people in your life who are used to you being like really in people pleaser mode, and shifting out of that and saying, hey, I need space to take care of myself. I know, like, you still love them and you still care for them, but because they're so dependent on you caring for them so much, you're kind of trying to retrain everybody to allow you to take better care of yourself. And that may mean mealtime looks different, or them looking out for themselves looks different. And I find that women just don't know how to go about that. That's what we're going to do in that 2.5 hours as well. And that will be part of your portal. So you will save as a result of participating in today's Perimenopause Struggle is Real webinar. You'll save $49 on that program if you sign up today, the day of the webinar. So let me get you now. If you're like, hey, I don't want to do this. I don't want to join the masterclass and workshop. I'm just going to DIY this. No problem, don't sign up. You've got that slide that tells you exactly what you need to do. Remember, I said, what do I do? This is what you need to do. But if you think, hey, I want to go ahead and join, we're going to get together and I am going to customize. I can't take more than like 10 to 12 people in that workshop masterclass. We're going to get together and I'm going to help you figure out, target it for you, what needs to happen. So I am at my time. Here's my contact information. Here's my website. Here's the contact for the team and reaching out to us. You've got Facebook, you've got Instagram. Do I have any questions? I am really impressed that um, not quite half, but a number of you showed up who registered. So that's fantastic. Y'all have been very quiet. Does anyone want to take just a second and ask any questions? And thank you, Danica, for posting this. This is the information I needed. Do we have any questions about anything that you're going through or about anything that I shared or any of the slides that were present? And thank you, those of you who were able to join me on Instagram. Like I said, if you just comment, I can send you the team can send you the recording. Okay, so we're ending that now. Okay. No questions on here. Everyone's good to go. What did you learn anything that was a surprise today? Did you learn anything that was a surprise for you, or was this about what you expected was happening during perimenopause? Is there anything that kind of stood out for you about what is happening? Ah, very welcome. Yeah, I love that graph. Yeah, I really was like, that explains it. Yes, Miss Gloria.
Yes. I
Thank
thought
you.
the desire to just go into a cave was just me.
Oh no. No, you're not alone. You're amongst friends.
I'm normally an introvert, so I just thought it was just, for some reason getting more, I don't know,
More introverted.
amplified.
Yes. Nope. Nope, that's it. The progesterone going down is making you feel less connected to the people that you love. They're driving you more crazy now because
Yes.
because you have too much estrogen, more testosterone, and I swear not enough of that progesterone. And so many women, literally the way this was taught to me. So this is women across the US because that's where these integrative MDs who are doing these trainings are kind of referencing, are feeling like this, like they just want to run away from home. They want to downsize, they want to move into like a condo or an apartment or just go stay in the she shed, and they don't want to be bothered. So you are not alone. Yeah. So thank you for saying that. I'm sure some of the people who watch this recording are going to get a chuckle out of that one. Thank you. It's great to know I'm not alone because everyone and everything is getting on my nerves. Yep. Yep. That's it. Everybody's kind of yeah, feeling kind of irritable and also feeling like all of a sudden kind of taken advantage of, like people take more than they give or the relationships aren't reciprocal. And it's like I have fully apologized to people for not having better boundaries and having created little monsters in them, but that it is no more. You know, like, I'm sorry. I know I trained our relationship poorly, but like I now have different needs and different boundaries. And ladies, if you don't speak up for yourself, you're going to make yourself sick. That's the biggest change too, is that you're going to make yourself women start to develop autoimmune disorders around this time because of these fluctuations and allowing their bodies to be stressed and trying to behave the same way that they always have. And that's what's come out of the autoimmune research as well. Mostly it's women who have autoimmune disorders, and it has a lot to do with this people pleasing that our hormones allowed us to engage in that we just are no longer able to pull off without a lot of inner tension that isn't good for us as well. So I want to encourage and embolden you to take up a lot more space, and that is what nature intended. That's what was intended for this phase of your life. So I'm glad that this was helpful. You're going to receive the recording. Like I said, as soon as I stop talking, you'll get that email. And I would love to have you join me so that I can work a bit more tactically with you individually at the end of July. That's coming up. And I'm going to do one more webinar like this. So if you have friends that you think would benefit, you'll see the email come out again for this, where I'll teach again. And please share. Please definitely share. I will stop talking now since I'm about 10 minutes over. And just thank you for joining me today. Thank you, those of you who couldn't join me that signed up, and share this information and let women know what's going on. Okay. Y'all take care of yourselves. And thank you, Danica. Oh, I got somebody type in. Thank you for helping me today. Yes, Danica says thanks. All right. Y'all have a good one.